Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today I'm going to harvest some cucumbers and start a pickle jar with them. We had 2 or 3 days of very heavy rain, and the ground was completely soaked. So I didn't harvest the cucumber for a few days because I don't want to compact the soil. So now it's dried up a little bit. So, and I can see that the cucumbers are getting huge. So that's what I got. They are probably I can still cook it with meat and egg or eggs, but they are also good for pickling. So I'm going to use most of this for pickle. So out of this one plant, I got more than a dozen cucumbers, and I still have 4 or 5 plants to go through, and seems we're going to get huge amount of cucumbers. These are actually from seeds I bought from Home Depot. I have 2 packets of seeds, 2 different varieties, and I have probably about less than 10 plants. I spread it around the garden. They have been producing for a while, and it's doing really well. This garden bed actually is just the Houston black clay, and without any compost. I added maybe some hay, and seems the squash are doing really well. It's low in nitrogen, so I put some nitrogen fertilizer and when I was planted. But the plants are the squashes are really thriving on this Houston black clay without much amendment, and they are producing tons of fruit for us. I have washed the cucumbers, and to make cucumber pickle, you really just need 3 things. First, of course, you need a pickle jar. I explain how that works. And some salt, and I'm using the sea salt, and then boiled water. I basically started the pickle jar from scratch. Once the brine starts to get started, actually, then you can continue using it. This is a very typical Chinese pickle jar, and I think on Amazon they also call it a Dutch pickle jar. What it has is basically the rim outside that to seal the water. So after I put everything, I put the cover on, and then I put water in this rim. And that essentially seals the air from getting in, so that creates an anaerobic environment for the pickle to get started. The advantage of that is that you can pick things out whenever you need to. If you need to fish out a pickle, you just open it and take it out. And after you're done, you put it back in, and then it's sealed again. So you can use it. Once I get it started, I basically just, whenever I cook, when I need pickle, I go here and get some. And whenever I need stuff, I have stuff that for pickle, I just grab it and throw it in there. Cucumbers are great for starting the pickle jar because they get pickle very quickly. To start from scratch, it maybe take a week. Once the brine is established, it may take just 1 day in this hot weather. It may take just 1 day for the pickle to the cucumber to get pickled. To start, what I do is I washed the cucumber, and ideally they should be dried, and then I just put them in there. And so this is too big. I think I have enough short ones. The thing is, with cucumber, you can cut it, but the skin of the cucumber kind of keep it a little bit longer in the pickle jar. If you cut it, it's actually get pickled much faster. So then, but if you leave there for too long, then it kind of disintegrate in there. But if you have the skin on the cucumber, it take a little bit longer. It can stay there a little bit longer before it disintegrate. Of course, you can always, once it's pickled, you can always take it out and put it in the refrigerator or the freezer, so that it will stop the fermentation process, and you can use it whenever you need to. I stuffed a bunch of pickles in the pickle jar, and turns out this pickle jar is too small for the cucumbers we have. We actually have a bigger one at home, so I guess we have to, after this that started, we will move it to the bigger pickle jar. So then the next step is to add water, and the water have to be boiled, and cool down, obviously. So it's kind of cooled, boiled water, and ideally, I should have the water submerged, or the cucumber submerged under the water. Next is obviously add salt. So when the salt actually to keep it from spoil, but if you add too much salt, then that kind of delays the fermentation process. So when I just started, I usually just add kind of some less salt than I necessarily need to get the fermentation started. And then after the fermentation started, I can add a little bit of salt. So it really doesn't matter that much whether it's too salty. You probably wouldn't make it very salty anyway. The salt is the natural sea salt, and you can get it from most of the Asian stores, especially in the Korean section. You could use onion salt, but suppose sea salt to make it taste better. Just make sure that all the salt are dissolved in water. If you have some salt that kind of hanging around, you can just basically add some water to wash it down. So that is done. Then you just put this cover in there, and then this cover, and then you add this water to the rim to cover the rim. And what you want to make sure is obviously the water in the rim here should not dry out, because that provides the airtight environment for the pickle inside. And this probably will take about a week, and I can open it and check it. I can smell the fermentation. So basically, in a week, I would think that the pickle will be ready. This is how I make the pickles with this pickle jar. It's very straightforward, and you cannot do wrong with it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumb up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West Farms.